Good morning. My name is Joe Babb. I serve as president of the Tupelo Public School District Board of Trustees. On behalf of the board, I want to welcome you to our convocation. We all wish we could be together in person, and we all thought that we would be. In the early days of the pandemic, as most of us learned the meaning of quarantine, we marveled at the frontline workers who went to work every day and put themselves in danger to fight a little understood disease with relatively few available tools. They answered the call. In August of last year, we marveled as you answered a different kind of call, a call by our community's children. They needed you, and you came to school to teach them and to love them. Some of you came with concerns about how you could effectively teach with the safety measures that were put in place. Some of you came with concerns about your own safety or that of family members. But you came and you knocked it out of the park. We are so proud of what you accomplished. We cannot thank you enough for your hard work. Today, we stand on the edge of another year. We know that this year carries similar uncertainty. We are all fatigued and we all wish for normalcy. And yet our community's children once again need you. They need the same diligence, compassion, and flexibility that you gave them last year. They need you to once again go above and beyond your normal job responsibilities. And above all, they need to learn what you have to teach them, both from your textbook and from your heart. Please know that the Board of Trustees wishes you the absolute best as we begin this new journey. Know that we go with you, and go wave.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to the 2021-2022 school year. I'm Mayor Todd Jordan, and I hope you had a great summer. I want each of you to know how much I appreciate what you do and your tireless dedication to our students. Each of you play an important role in the lives of our children and young people. You prepare our students to attain their goals and become responsible citizens of our community. My wife is a Tupelo Public School District Administrator, and my children are in Tupelo schools. So I have the unique perspective of not only a parent, but also have a good idea of what teachers and administrators contribute on a daily basis. I appreciate you, and I have the utmost respect for you. Last year was a difficult year for educators dealing with COVID restrictions. You did an outstanding job under these circumstances. Educators are resilient and determined. And although I know that you're up for any challenges this year, I hope that this year will be easier to navigate. I want to thank you for your commitment and wish the very best to you and the students of Tupelo Public School District. Now let's have a great year.
Good morning. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us today as we open another great school year. We decided to do this year's convocation virtually out of an abundance of caution and to give everyone a little more time in their schools. We look forward to greeting everyone personally during the first week of school as we get around to staff meetings at each school. We are always excited about the beginning of the school year because our students bring us joy. Before we talk about this new school year, let's reflect on last year. It was a tough year, especially for people who struggled with illness, people who lost income and loved ones, the elderly, teachers, support staff, and our students. But we prevailed. We educated the students of Tupelo all year long in spite of some very challenging circumstances. We did more than prevail. We learned to teach and communicate in different ways. We became flexible and recognized the one-size-fits-all factory model of education is not adequate at any time, but definitely not during a pandemic. We learned to support each other and extend grace and kindness to our colleagues, our parents, and our students, even when we had very little left to give. We learned to smile and laugh in the face of adversity. And we learned to put all of our prior suppositions about education and learning in proper perspective. The quality of the curriculum and pedagogical expertise is important. The testing data and the standards are important. The state accountability model may even be important on some level, but the most important element of any educational experience is the quality of the relationship between the teacher and the learner. Students will learn what we want them to learn when they truly believe we care about them as people. Let's take a few minutes and remember last year. When we were putting this slide presentation together, I must admit, I got a little emotional. It was a tough year. But there are many, many smiles. The best way to predict the future is to create the future. We have no way of knowing what this new school year will bring in terms of the pandemic, the educational, or the social and emotional needs of our students. In regard to the pandemic, we will follow all executive orders that come out of Governor Tate Reeves' office. Where feasible, we will follow the recommendations of the Mississippi Department of Health. In addition, we will monitor community spread here in Tupelo and adjust our mitigation strategies as necessary. Our TPSD blueprint for reopening schools is on the website and will remain open for public comment. Principals will be reviewing our mitigation protocols for the 2021-2022 school year during the first week of in-services. Please closely review Board Policy JGCC for an explanation of mitigation processes. We will do our very best to get back to school as close to normal as possible, fully recognizing we may need to adjust throughout the year, and there is nothing normal during a pandemic. In regard to the educational needs of our students, a review of our MAEP data indicates we have a 10 to 15% deficit from where we were before the pandemic. That large of a deficit is consistent with other districts around the state and will more than likely not be recovered in one school year. With rigorous instructional technique, a sense of urgency, a clearly defined MTSS process, consistent interventions, and a focus on the quality of our relationships, full recovery may be a 2-year process for some students. We need to move away from a factory model of education where every learner receives the same lessons for the same length of time to a medical model where it is assumed learners will need different types of assistance for different lengths of time. In regard to the social and emotional needs, it is a safe assumption that our students will return to school with a variety of needs. Many students have not been in a school since before spring break of last year, and many have experienced, unfortunately, some level of trauma. It's important that we remember, number one, We can't effectively teach to maximum capacity students who we do not know. Any efforts to really get to know students, to identify their passions, their obstacles, and their dreams will pay dividends throughout the school year. Number 2, students need to practice procedures repeatedly throughout the school year. The expectations we establish, procedures we practice, and the behaviors we accept at the beginning of the school year are the same expectations and behaviors we will live with all year and see at the end of the school year. The culture of every school is identified by the lowest expectation and acceptable behavior. Number 3, when we capture a child's heart, we have a child's mind. Education has suffered for a long time from a student engagement crisis. I was once involved in a student engagement audit of a high-functioning school district and found that 92% of the students were not fully engaged in the learning process. Even the advanced students were not functioning at their highest capability. All of the research on teaching and learning is conclusive. The foundation of student engagement is based upon the quality of the relationship between the teacher and the learner. As a district, we are investing considerable resources into CHAMPS procedures with Safe and Civil Schools and our Second Step program at the elementary level, and capturing kids' hearts at the secondary level. We hope these initiatives will produce results for you and your students. However, with any initiative, there is no such thing as working toward consistency. As a team, we are either consistent in our implementation or we are not consistent. It has been my experience that when schools are calibrated, when every classroom and every person in a school is committed to an initiative and focused on the implementation, we produce the greatest results. Imagine, if you would, our car, how would it run if the cylinders in our engine were not calibrated? If they fired randomly? We would end up on the side of the road, waiting for a tow truck. As we approach the new school year, let's commit ourselves to working as a team and making best practices common practice. As I prepare myself for this school year, I am remembering last year when every member of the Tupelo Public School District was a superhero. You all deserve to have a big E for educator on your chests. Beginning with the food service members who delivered meals and kept students fed, to the bus drivers who safely transported students, to the maintenance and janitorial staff who modified facilities and kept schools disinfected and clean, to the security team, to the support staff members who were behind the scenes making sure things ran smoothly, to our principals, assistant principals, and other admin team members, teacher assistants, nurses, and our wonderful teachers who every single day, either virtually or in a classroom, loved our students. You were all superheroes. The Tupelo Public School District is a team of superheroes who do whatever is necessary to achieve uncommon results. On behalf of the TPSD Board of Trustees, we sincerely hope you have another great school year. Thank you for loving students and being an educator.